from parent to landlord. This is obviously getting later in the years. But I had this conversation with all my kids. I say, hey, listen, and I do it in their 17th, the beginning of the end of the junior or beginning of the senior high. Say, hey, listen, you got one more year until you're 18. And 18 means you're legally an adult. And that means at 18, you have to decide where you want to live. Because you don't have to live here. You can live anywhere you want. You could join the military. You could just be gone. Oh. So I just need to know from you if you're thinking about living here. And we're happy to make you a deal. Let's talk about that. You can go, if you live here and you go to college and you give me good grades and all that kind of stuff, then it's all free room and board, etc. If you want to go part-time school, then you probably need to do part-time work and you probably pay a little bit of rent. Still best deal in town, but a little bit. Why? Because I want you to get used to paying rent, being an adult. It'll be a little, maybe $50 a month, but it's going to be something. Okay? And so the other thing, though, that's important about that is not just that you get to decide where you want to live, but you as parents got to quit being a parent. You're going to be their landlord. Now, landlords have a lot of power, don't they? They tell you, and here again, it's semantics. Parent says, don't park your car here, don't do this, and don't do this, and come in at such and such time. Landlords do a lot of the same stuff. Hey, listen, we don't want you to, painting all the walls black. We don't keep the music down. You can't park your car here. You can't park it there. I mean, there's all kinds of rules if you want, and you got to pay this much rent, and the rent will go up, and that's what happens. So let's get them ready for that in a mild way, but in a realistic way. So they begin to see that. Now, the flip side is that, and this will help you, think like a landlord. Would a landlord just say what you just said? Pick up your underwear. I don't think a landlord's get into that realm. I mean, and that's a great little test for you, is that what I just said or what I just did, now again, this is for 17, 18-year-old and up, would a landlord do that? I mean, it's a nice little check to think about that. Because if they won't and you keep doing it, they'll resent it. You'll exacerbate them. You'll frustrate them. You'll anger them unnecessarily. Now, there are also consequences when you're renting an apartment, right? If you don't pay your rent, what happens? You get kicked out, or you have a little heart-to-heart conversation. Okay? So there's things a landlord wants. What does the landlord want? What does the tenant want? Okay. The commodity for getting that is money. So now your kids are 18, they're still living in your house. What's the commodity? It's not money, they don't got a lot of it. But there's things you want. What do you want? Parents? Respect. What else you want? Accountability. What else you want? Grades. Consideration. With chores, there'll still be some chores. I mean, when I was young and I had my own place, I found this great room to rent, and it was dirt cheap. But it also included washing the car once a week and mowing the lawn. I said, I can do that. I don't got money, but I got power. I'll do that stuff. And I wasn't resentful. I didn't feel they were parenting me. But I was doing all the things I was doing at my house. So what's the difference? Well, no, we're in a level of accountability. You can do this with parents, but you don't have to breathe down their neck. If you treat them like an adult, like an advisor, from accountability as a landlord. So these are just ways for you to think differently that hopefully will change how you interact with them. Yes?
What if they get to the point where, like my oldest, she's 26 now, but it was like laundry everywhere. She'd be like, you need to do your laundry. You need to do your laundry.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't need to do her laundry.
Or it would never be dusted or vacuumed. And I'd be like, okay, let me just shut the door. Is that all you
do?
I mean,
shut the door. Well, if you're living in my house, my kid or not, I don't care either. It's your room, do what you want with it. I just don't want anything illegal. I don't want anything that's going to be a health hazard. I don't want things that grow that shouldn't be growing or moving that shouldn't be moving. If that stuff's going on, you're going to have a problem with me. But short of that, it's your deal. Now, let me tell you a little journey I went on with one of my kids. So we got this deal that says, okay, you get to live here, and I'll pay for your school, and room board, whole deal. But here's the deal: I only pay for C's or better. I don't pay for D's. If you get a D, I want reimbursement. I want the books reimbursement. I want the class reimbursement. Because I don't pay for that. And if that's what you're doing, then that's on you. So we did that, and then we were in the mode where I'm trying to get money for my kid. How do you think that works out? And so that was just jacking up the relationship, right? It's like he was, here I come, and I'm frustrated with him, and then I finally said, look, here's the deal. I'm going to change the deal now. Because landlords can do that. You can't, right? They can raise the rent. So here's the new deal. The new deal is that I just see that school is not that big of a deal for you, and I don't want to be pestering you about it, so I'm going to get off your back. So here's the new deal. The new deal is that you go to school when you want to. You pay for it. When you get C's or better, you bring it back, I'll reimburse you. Because I'm good with my word. You bring me C, boom, I'm paying you back. Then you use that to take the next semester, and off you go. But now we're in a place where you do it first. Now we started first with me, you doing it, and I'm reimbursing, or you're going to reimburse me, but that wasn't working so well. And I was mainly concerned about the relationship because it was messing up the relationship. It just made us not like each other. When we flipped it around, then it was on him. And he's yet to go back to college. And the deal's still on the table. I told him that. He's going to have to learn the hard way. And he's got to get a little hungry. And when he gets hungry, I'm still there to... But I maintain the relationship. We haven't lost the relationship over it. So there's always that bridge for me to help him, as opposed to that's done. We're closed. But this is more working with late adolescents, okay, of 17, 18, and on. And some of your kids are staying in your house till they're 22, 24. That's becoming more the norm because it's so hard to get out there on your own financially. Any questions on parent to landlord? Come on, don't make it too easy on me.
Go back to the...
Pardon?
How long did you stay at home? Did you keep working and...
As long as the deal's a good deal.
For us, right?
For both.
At some point, if you're saying, I don't want to do that anymore, I want you to go.
Okay, here's what happened. Let me finish the story. My son moved out, and he got his own place. It was pathetic. It was Spartan. It was, oh my gosh. But hey, it's his life. And I don't want you living your life right in front of me because it makes me crazy. So if you're going to live the crazy life, do it over there. I don't want to watch. It's just the best way to get through it. All right? Why torture myself with this stuff? So then something happened, went sideways with his roommate. He said, hey, can I come back? He's 23 now. Can I come back? For a month. I just need a month and then I'll find my own place. I said, you can come back. Absolutely. We love you. We want you to come back. We will help you. First month is free. After that, it's $400 a month. And it goes up $50 every month. When we got to $700, he's going like, dang, I can get my own apartment with this money. I said, exactly. That's exactly right. Go get it without me being on your back. How cool is that? And that's what happened. It took about 6 months to get there, patiently. But it was, I thought it was very reasonable. And so therefore it took a little bit longer than I would have liked. But eventually we got there and he left and it was all on good graces and we're still good friends and, it didn't harm the relationship. But we pulled it off. So, that's just an adult kind of deal.
Is that what you were talking about when you said something about you took that kind of money and put it into some sort of a savings or something?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I paid the bills.
What if it wasn't you? Somebody was telling me about how they put money,
Yes.
They collected money and saved it, and then they never told them that. And then when they went off to do that.
And that's an option. I've heard that before too. That's completely doable. Now, what I also told him is, listen, between now and then, you need to start saving up money for, I'm giving him all the best advice. It's your life. I'm just advising you don't need to do it, but I think it'd make your life a lot easier. And he didn't do it. So, okay, well then I'm not going to get in the way of his hard life. Because then he won't learn that, it's like what he'll learn, what I'm teaching him is that, well, if I don't do it, somebody will step in and rescue me. I don't want that. Because that's just not going to happen. Yes?
Can I go back to the how to want to?
Yes.
If kids over 18, they tell you, I don't want to go to church anymore. And I just want I won't break this up either.
When they're living in your house and they're now adult, it's a tough call. Sometimes you can do the hard line and says, if you're going to live here, these are the rules. And you need to read your kid. And what it comes down to is, do you want to hold the hard line and lose the relationship? Or do you want to save the relationship and loosen up? And it's a hard call, and it's different with each kid. You may have 4 kids, it'll be different with each of those. It's just hard to know. And you really have to know, because I've seen a lot of kids come from Christian homes where it was really black and white and dogmatic, and they just got such a bitter taste on faith, on their parents, and the whole thing. It was just a hard road back from that. At the same time, I've seen parents, please be my friend, I'll do anything, do whatever you want. That's not good either. That's the other extreme. So in there is some medium that says, look, you know what, then I might comment, say, how about this? You live here once a month, I want you to go with me. See, and you want to move away from going to church or not going to church, black and white. It's like, okay, I'd like to do it every week, like we do, and you'd like to go never. And so maybe once a month or twice a month, maybe we can find some meeting ground. You get to live here, and I'll give you good rent. And they're not stupid. If you're reasonable with them, they'll work with you. If you start getting dogmatic, then they'll start rebelling and going for their autonomy, and you've got a broken relationship. Those are tricky roads to go down, and every kid is different. But great question. Yeah. Another one. Yes.
My daughter's but she's definitely a tween. She wanted this friend over, and the friend has had cancer, and just a lot going on. But she's a strong kind of leader of the pack. That's not the greatest influence. But she likes me. They were wanting to play games, but then I thought the friends thing. I wouldn't let her go to her house, but was with the kind of ministry, but then not wanting them to walk in either.
I mean,
Come over and be kind of around, but not walk. Or,
yeah. At 10 years old, yeah, you can still hover and keep an eye out and imply or impress your influence on her. Sure, absolutely.
So it's okay to kind of say yes.
Yes, because you're overseeing that, and you can step in if it starts to go south, right? It's when they're not with you, then it's like, well, then you want good influence because you don't have to worry so much. Yeah. Yes.
I have some friends at work that are trying to get my kids to hang out with their kids because they like my kids, and my kids saying, I don't want to hang out with them. Please don't hang out. How do you handle that? Do I if my son talks to that parent, do I tell the parent my kid is my kid?
All right. Who likes to have their friends chosen for them? Please raise your hand. Anybody? We're not real thrilled with that, nor are your kids. So, with your question, who engaged you?
The parent.
The parent. So that's a conversation between you and the parent.
So, okay, good. So how do I...
What you can say is just, I really appreciate that. I'm flattered. But you know what? In our home, we let our kids make their own choice of who their friends are going to be. We don't like to impose that on them. I mean, that's the deal. And that might be a nice little teachable moment for that parent. It's like, wow, really? Okay. And then they might say, well, now I definitely don't want my kid with your kid. What is that all about? I'm not the one. But you're speaking the truth as your family lives. That's kind of what the deal is, right? Okay. Okay. And I want you to see, this is what happens in counseling. And counseling isn't some magical thing where weird things happen. It's just this kind of stuff. And like I say, I work with a lot of parents, and I'm just kind of looking over their shoulders while they play this game of chess. And I say, why don't you make that move next time? See how that plays out. Because I want to help you win. Because when you win, they win. If they win, everybody loses. It's not time for them to win. It's time for them to learn. Yes?
Piggybacking off some of these comments. What about if your you're okay with having that friend over, your child's friend over to your house, but you're not comfortable with them going to the friend's house because of home life or etc.
Mm-hmm.
How do you communicate that to your kid in a way that's not saying, in an appropriate way?
Well, I mean, you're as honest as you can be at their age level, and you just tell them, say, listen, you know what, I'm happy with you being friends with Sally, and that she can be over here as often as we are able to do that. But right now, I'm not real thrilled about you going over there because there's a lot of stuff going on. They're going through a lot of pressure, and it's just hard on families when you have somebody else come in from the outside. So we want to just spare them that pressure. So for now, let's have you have friends with Sally at our house, and then we'll look at it down the road. Maybe things will change. So do you see, there's not a hard no here.
Right. And what if your kid has to have an answer for Sally who's asking your kid continually to come over? How does your child?
I would say ask Doug. Sometimes a direct answer isn't needed to be said. Like, well, my mother doesn't think I should be at your house, da da da. I mean, it's more of a deflection, or it's like, you know what, we just have a lot more fun here, or just, hey, why don't we go? You just deflect and go off, because the chances are they won't pursue. Like, wait a minute, you didn't answer my question. You know what I'm saying? So you just kind of not try to deal with it directly, because what are you going to say? I don't want to go to your house. Your family's all screwed up, and we don't want you there. That's not going to fly well. So you try to be gracious. You want to be, diplomacy, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not easy to not do that, but you don't want to do it directly because then you'll hurt their feelings.
It's just hard for kids to know how to answer.
Yeah, and well, that's what I'm saying. You just tell her, so you know what, have her come ask me. If she wants to say, I don't know, ask my mom. That probably ends the conversation right there. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you kind of deflect it, and no one's going to be torn up because they didn't get an answer to that question. They're just going to have fun and, okay, let it go. Yes?
I was kind of thinking along the lines, like, depending on the age of the child, I'm thinking of my 13-year-old, and he wanted to go to his boys' house. I know they're not Christians, and there were some weird things, but you know what? I guess I'm a little more open, like, I know him, and so I felt like, okay, but this is the amount of time that I'm going to live for. And then when he came home, I was really direct, but then I could take some time. I just started asking him confidence, you're weird. And I go, no, was there something that was kind of different from our life? I just said it. And so there's it just leaves us conversation, what's appropriate. And I think you have to look at each kid differently.
You do.
There's one child you might say, there's no way, because they get totally influenced. There's another child that they would pretty much, hopefully, this particular kind of trust their judgment.
Right.
But you set a certain limit to it.
Right.
And then see if it goes.
That's right. I mean, you have to. Remember in our first meeting or second meeting, we learned about customizing our parenting because our kids are very different. And being fair doesn't mean it's equal. Right? You're not going to treat everybody equally, but you will treat them fairly. Last one.
I'm just wondering in the situation when you know specifics about things in another home, when when you're hanging out. For instance, when my daughter was younger, she had a friend whose grandparents were at home after school, and this girl was kind of always roaming the neighborhood. I didn't think she was getting enough supervision for being like in early and mid-grade school, and she had an older brother. And I talked through with my daughter, these are the reasons why I'm not comfortable with you being there as a teachable moment for her, because I try to teach my girls from very young age to put up their radar what's a safe situation and what do safe people look like, and what do unsafe situations and unsafe people look like. So it was just kind of nicely trying to say, not a lot of parental supervision, not good, and there's this older boy. I don't know if there's anything negative about it, but I don't know him.
Right.
So I'm not comfortable with that when you're 9 and 10 years old. And she got it.
Yep.
And it was a good, just teachable moment. And
Exactly.
like sleepovers and all kinds of stuff too.
Oh, nice illustration. Yeah, excellent. Good. Let's go to our final one. Move from sugar daddy to banker lender. Okay? Teaching financial accountability. I mean, they get allowance. I mean, I had allowance, and I recommend the parents, have an allowance that shows here's what you get at 5, at 6, 7, 8, all the way to 17. And here's this list that's printed out. And that's, how much they get at every year changes and increases, and it's based on your income, right? If you have income, it's a little bit more for everything. If not, it's a little bit less. But they're getting money. And they're getting money just because they're part of the family, not necessarily because they do chores. They do chores because they're part of the family. I don't necessarily link it together. Now, you might do a little bonus. Hey, you did a really good job, and you give extra $20. You weren't even expecting it, but hey, awesome job. But for the most part, you give them an allowance so they can manage money. And most of us have never been taught about how to manage money. That's why I started a whole ministry to help people, who try to learn and want to learn and just don't. And so what? You're not going to do your finances well? I mean, oh my gosh, no, that's not an option. You need to do that. And so we need to teach them. And you teach them by giving them some money. So you give them money not just for play money, but so maybe here's a little bit of this, and you give them maybe more. I've had some families say, here's your allowance, and we're going to give you an extra $50 a month, and that's your clothes money. Don't come to me for clothes. This is your clothes money. Get your own clothes. Okay? I mean, so you want to teach them financial accountability by giving them an allowance, giving them some money. And then you can say, sometimes they'll say, hey, listen, and you help them, through being advised, say, here, I would recommend you do this, we're going to give this amount of money. I would put 10% aside, and you start giving them some guidance about how to manage their money, some into savings. And let me tell you why, with the tithing, which is obvious in terms of giving back to the Lord, but also why you want to save, because there's going to be some things that I won't be able to get you, but if you save enough, you can get it for yourself. Because there's going to come a time when they say, can I have this? And you say no, but you say, you've saved up enough, you could get it for yourself. Cool. So you want to teach them that, we get money so we can pay for things and get things, and they need to start learning, as opposed to you bailing them out. Just like I told you the story about Jordan. He had allowance, and he broke the CD player. It was $130 to fix, and I let him sweat for a couple of days, and then I said $30, which was a bite for him, and it taught him a little responsibility, but he also paid for it. So he felt proud that he fixed the problem. He was also thankful that I helped him, largely with that problem. So you want to look for ways to let them take care of things, especially when they, also as they get older. The first thing that I had our kids do is say, there's going to come a day when I'm going to ask you to start paying for your own cell phone. Now they're on a family plan and all of that, but now they pay me for their cell phone. And they can get smart. They can get a nice cell phone or a cheap cell phone, depending on how much of their allowance they want to use. So then you're starting to think about being frugal and not just getting anything they want, but hey, what can I afford? Great way to start thinking. And the evolution was, okay, you pay for your cell phone, then came driving, so now you pay for your own gas, I pay for the insurance, I pay for the car, then you start pay partial of insurance. I mean, you start weaning yourself off in terms of paying for everything, so they start to pay for stuff. Some kids will be all over that. Oh my gosh, they love that. It's like, man, that's amazing. You're awesome. And some kids are going to just drag their feet through this. And they need it more than the one that's jumping all over it. But they need it. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, how many of us walk out of home knowing how to manage money? And many of us struggle ourselves with managing money because we weren't taught. Yes?
I took my little financial advisor and had to sit down. He's got his money invested. Okay, this is from when you were little and how much it's grown. And he's interested in other ways to invest, franchise, and property management, buy property. So it's an idea.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a great experience. Let me ask you this. For those of you that manages the family's money, how many of you had your kids sit with you as you paid your bills? Anybody done that? Good. You should. Let them see that this stuff costs money. Oh my gosh. I mean, just sit down, let me just show you. Just start writing checks with them. This is for this, this is for this, and then you see this is for the church, and it's like, oh, you actually do it. You're just not talking. Yeah. Wow. I mean, electricity, and you have some fun conversations. It's not to punish them, it's not to rub their noses in it, it's just to enlighten them about, hey, you're getting older, you need to start thinking about this, looking at this, here's what I did, check it out. You know? They might get squiggly after a little while, let them go, they don't have to be there for the whole, but they get the gist of it. But that's a great little exercise for them to see that, you know, they're moving in that world. You're going to be an adult, this is what it's about. You're going to have to start paying rent, you're going to have to start paying for your phone, you have to start paying for all the stuff that you want. What would be some other ways that you can help your kids learn about money? I mean, sitting down with you? Yes?
Just piggyback on what she said. When ours turned 13, my husband's an economist and I'm an MBA type, so put that through this filter. But we decided, you know, they still get allowance, and we're big on, you know, when you spend it, it's gone. And I'm not replacing it. If you spend it on something that you didn't like, too bad, because that's reality. We also said, you know what? We want them to learn how to be responsible, good givers. Mm-hmm. So we started giving them a much bigger amount per quarter to give, and we would sit down with them and help them investigate organizations. Mm-hmm. And how do you decide how to responsibly give?
Yes.
Just because someone has a fancy website and says, oh, we do all these good things, doesn't mean you should give them money.
Yes.
And then secondly, we gave them the same amount per quarter to save and then invest. Because if you're smart with money and you have some extra, you need to learn how to invest.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so we're working on that
awesome.
one too. And the older one is like really careful and she doesn't want to lose it in the stock market. And the younger one's like, hey, I can't wait.
27, come on, baby.
So
yeah.
We're not sure exactly how it's going to work. We're working through it.
We've had our kids, you know, with that theme in mind, we had money for giving, and we said, you know what, this month, I want you to look around among your friends who you think could use some financial help. Maybe they don't get toys, or maybe they don't, you know, who knows what. And let's talk about who we could help. And we'll use some of your allowance, because you set money aside, and we'll use some of ours to help, kind of a joint project, to look for somebody who's needing. So there's more of a personal connection to the giving, to be able to have that experience, as opposed to, well, here, you give it to the church, and say, okay. You know, just to get a more personal taste of that. So any areas that, in terms of this money management for your kids, what do you think they should start? I mean, I've mentioned cell phones. Where are some other good areas where they could start, you know, picking up their slack with that? Yeah.
We have ours pitching because we have 4 kids, and if you added up all the birthday parties that they're invited to throughout the year, it's astronomical. So they pitch in for that.
Good.
We help.
Okay, perfect.
Halfsies or something, but
sure, collaboration, right?
Yeah.
That's what adults do, huh? Yeah, that's good. That's all adult work. Yes.
My son wanted a new hoodie. We went shopping for that today, and actually went on eBay. I
Okay.
looked some other places, and I was all prepared for him to find a $35 and then I was going to show him the champion one for 15 or 20 and say, okay, how about you pay the difference if you needed to say Quicksilver or whatever. And as it turned out, we found a used one that was the right one for less than even the new champion ones. I just left that for another time.
Nice.
Pretty acceptable and used.
Awesome.
As long as he's willing to do that, that's one way as long as you're willing to wear the used stuff, you get the name brand stuff. I'm thinking let him, if he insists on having new name brand, let him pay the difference between tennis shoes
Perfect.
and Nike.
Nice. Yeah. And what was lesson learned there? What was the lesson learned? What's that? You have to live on a budget. When I enroll people in Turning Point Stewardship, I'll have people in front of me that make $3,000 a month, and I have people that make $80,000 a month. Okay? And I say the same thing to them. The same thing. And this is what I say. Listen, you're out of money. You don't have any more to spend each month. So now you're going to have to prioritize what you want more and what you're not going to be able to do. I say that to the person who makes $3,000, and I say to the guy who makes $80,000. George, you can't buy another plane. You don't have the money. I'm sorry. Now it's funny, but it's the same conversation because we can all outspend our money. All. I mean, giving $1 million a month. Dang it! I want a Bugatti. It costs 1.2. I need 200,000 more. It's not going to work. I mean, we all do that. And so we all have to learn to live within our means, which, you know, our government is a wonderful example for that, right, for us. And we just raise the credit card limit and we'll be fine. Right? That'll just work. But we want to teach a different way. And letting them get into your finances, let them see, take them to the bank. I mean, expose them to this whole machine of money. Let them pay for things as they check out and stuff like that. Let them figure out the tip at a meal. You know, I mean, there's lots of little ways where they can start getting a taste of the responsibility of moving from being the sugar daddy to being the banker lender. All right, I mentioned that there's some final thoughts about resources. You don't want to do this alone. You're playing a game of chess. You need some advisors over your shoulder, and there are many of them. And here's some. First of all, do the best that you can. It's all that anyone can ever ask of you. It's the greatest investment you'll ever make is in your kids. It's worth the time and the effort. Second, remember this. If you could be a perfect parent, it wouldn't guarantee a perfect outcome. Think of God and the garden experience. Right? You had the perfect parent, and that didn't go so well. Okay? So give yourself a little slack on your effort. Most of us, if not all of us, will need help. Don't waste any time. Just get the help. Reach out. There are many resources available. Here are some of them. First, books. Online. Google. There's lots of places to find questions. It's amazing, the information that's readily available. Second is your pastor and other successful parents. We have a lay counseling program here. I mean, there's resources available for people to look over children and give you some suggestions and advice and input on what you're doing. Just because you come to the end of your rope doesn't mean there's no more rope. You just ran out of your rope. There's lots of rope left. Seminars. You're doing it now. You're doing it here, which is fantastic. Take those in. There's webinars online. I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff where, this just empowers you and gives you new strategies, new ways to look at it, new ways to behave with your kids. Professional counseling. The sooner you get it, the less time it will take and the less you'll pay. When it's a crisis, it's going to be a nightmare financially and every other which way. I really enjoyed meeting with parents who had a minor thing and they were kind of maybe overdoing it, but they were in and out in 2-3 sessions, boom, done. And they were back on track. Piece of cake. And it's this kind of thing. It's question and answers. Nothing magical or scary or weird about it. So let me close with this, and we'll probably answer most of the questions. But let me close with this. This is on our website if you want to get this. But let me read this to you. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrows, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows might go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves the bow that is stable.